Buenos días, bienvenidos al video de español de capítulo 3. Vamos a continuar hablando de las palabras para usar, para ir de compras. So we are going to continue with the vocabulary from chapter 3, the words that we use if we're going shopping. So we have gotten now to unos adverbios, some adverbs. These top two should be a review. Entonces means then. También means to, our English TOO. De acuerdo, it means I'm in agreement. So one of the things that's very common in Spanish-speaking countries is these open markets, and you go to them, and then you can actually barter back and forth. So I think it was every Saturday, los sábados, in Valladolid, donde vivía, había un mercado al aire libre. There was this open air market. And so I would go, and if I wanted to buy something, I would start out with a lower price than what I really wanted to pay. And the other person would say the price they wanted, and we would go back and forth. And finally, de acuerdo, we would agree. Demasiado is a good word to know. It means too much. Es demasiado caro. Es demasiado caro. It's too expensive. It's too dear. Bastante, that's enough. So in the case of shopping, es bastante caro means it's quite pricey. So if you're going with a friend and they're asking you your opinion, es bastante caro, o es bastante poco, it's low enough, little enough that you would advise purchasing it. Okay, unos adjetivos, some adjectives. Most of these are going to deal with the clothing then. A rayas is striped. A cuadros is with blocks or squares, so plaid. De lana is made out of wool. De algodón is made out of cotton. De nylon is made out of nylon. Largo is long. So you could say pantalones largos, that's long pants. And then moving up here to corto, corto is short. So you could say pantalones cortos, those would be shorts. And barato is cheap. Caro is expensive. Mucho is a lot. Poco is a little. Varios, various, a variety. Hay varios calcetines aquí. There are various socks here, so pick out what you like. Okay, now in this chapter, we're really starting to work on our verbs. Yay, verb conjugation. So we are focusing on the AR verbs first. So I should tell you, in Spanish, we have the endings for verbs. And I'm going to add another text box and put a couple more notes here on this slide. So when we have a verb in Spanish, we always start with the infinitive form, infinitivo. So the infinitive is either going to end a, r, a, r, e, r. Okay, so AR, ER, and IR verbs. Then the next thing that you need to know about these is depending on what they end with, that's going to determine the endings that we use. And we are going to be focusing on AR ending verbs. In the next slide, I have examples of these, but I'll put one here too. So very common verb, hablar. It means to speak. So now, what you're going to do anytime you're going to conjugate a verb is you're going to take off the AR, or if it's an ER verb, IR verb, you're going to take that off. And then you're going to add the endings on based on what your subject is in the sentence. And it is very helpful for you at first to just make these little verb charts for yourself. So, hablo, hablas, habla. Tab, I guess so. Hablamos. I want to make it a little wider. Yet. There we go. I'm going to copy my accent. Oh, this is going to be weird. Will it work? Hablais. Okay, we'll change that to black so it matches. Ta-dum. And habla. Okay, now if you remember, this is yo hablo, I speak. Tú hablas, you, my good friend, speak. Él habla, he speaks. Ella habla, she speaks. Usted habla, you, formal, speak. Nosotros hablamos, we all speak. Vosotros habláis, you all, my good friends, speak. Ellos hablan, they, mixed group or group of boys, speak. Ellas hablan, that group of girls, they speak. Ustedes hablan, you all, formal, speak. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is just get these endings memorized. Notice there's only one that has an accent, and there will be a few irregular verbs, but memorize these 6 endings. O, as, a, amos, ais, an. Just say it over and over to yourself. O, as, a, amos, ais, an. O, as, a, amos, ais, an. I can guarantee you, if you've got these endings down, you will be ready to conjugate verbs, and then you'll be able to use them to speak, to write. This is the first step of real grammatical Spanish, not just vocabulary building. All right, so some verbs here. These are the ones we're going to be using in this chapter. Necesitar means to need. Buscar means to look for, and I'm doing this action because we have this verb mirar, which means to look, to see, to look at. So more like miro el libro, I look at my book. Miro el ordenador, I look at the computer. So the difference is the preposition buscar, to look for, mirar, to look at. Okay, comprar, to buy, pagar, to pay, usar, to use, calzar. Now this is an interesting verb. Calzar is to put on if it's on your foot. So put on socks, to put on shoes. The verb for wearing anywhere else on your body, llevar. Llevo un vestido hoy. I am wearing a dress today. Hablar is to speak. Trabajar is to work. Now, I put 2 verbs in parentheses here because I comes from an irregular verb. And if you remember, we've used this. It means there is, there are. We won't be conjugating it any other way. So I'm not going to have you memorize all the verb forms. Just know there is, or there are. And then costar fits in with this unit, but it is irregular. It is something we will be calling a stem changing verb, which means there's a spelling change as you take off the AR and you add the appropriate ending. We only need 2 forms of it. We only need cuesta and cuestan because it means to cost. So if you want to ask how much a dress is, ¿cuánto cuesta el vestido? How much does the dress cost? You use cuesta because it's one thing. However, if you're looking at something and there's more than one, like shoes, we'll say, ¿cuánto cuestan los zapatos? How much do the shoes cost? So you use one form or the other depending if it's singular or plural. Make sense? Okay. Unas preguntas. Now, some of these we've used, some of them we'll continue to use in class. ¿De qué colores? Of what color is it? ¿Qué desea usted? What do you want? ¿Cuánto es? How much is it? I prefer ¿cuánto cuesta? It just sounds more natural. How much does it cost? ¿Cuánto cuestan? That's the plural form. So, ¿cuánto cuestan los zapatos? ¿Quién es la persona con el vestido rojo? Who is the person with the red dress? So if you're asking a specific question, trying to get a specific answer, ¿con quién habla la empleada? With whom is the employee speaking? ¿Dónde pagas? Where do you pay? ¿Cuándo compras los zapatos nuevos? When do you, my good friend, buy new shoes? So those are just some questions. And of course, you can change many forms of them to get more questions.